Yeah, should be live now. So today's character is going to be Joker. Let's go ahead and get into this. So, once again, like with the Prawn Plant Guide, I have a bunch of notes open up on my phone that I've written down, or I guess typed down, to be able to see percents and things like that. Percents, combos, stuff about certain moves. So we'll be looking at that throughout this guide. So, yeah, I guess we can go ahead and get started. So, Joker has the 16th fastest run speed in the game. Walk speed's 42, so it's not on the lower side, but it's not too bad or anything. Like, you don't really walk around too much because of your dash speed. And your air speed's a bit above average at 36, but yeah, it's still kind of average. Your weight is ranked 45, so that is on the lower end of mid-weight, but that's still not a bad weight by any means, because you're still kind of average, so you can live at a certain high percent, but you will still die a lot faster than the heavyweights. So yeah, let's get started into moveset. So, I'll talk about recovery when I go over up special, because there's two types because of Arsene. But yeah, with dash attack, you've got the first dash attack, which is just this. And this dash attack will kill at ledge at 160%, so you can pick up kills at decently high percent. Sometimes Joker can struggle to kill whenever he doesn't have Arsene, but dash attack is pretty good at picking up kills. And it's actually kind of fast as well. Like, it's not one of the slower dash attacks where you run the risk of having too much lag if you miss it. With Joker, you have a decent amount of ending lag, so... I mean, not a decent amount, but like, a pretty, like, small amount of landing lag, I guess. It's not as, small as something like forward tilt, where you can kind of just do like this. You can see here. But it's still a lot, less than characters like Ganondorf that have a lot slower ones. But with Arsene, it will kill at ledge at 110%, and does a bit more percent, and I'll turn on stealth moves while I'm here as well. So, see, it does about 17.6%. Second it doing 15.1, but yeah, it will kill at 110%. It has about the same amount of in lag. I believe Arsene doesn't change in lag on anything except for up special. I kind of tested it a bit with a few moves and I didn't find any differences, but I didn't test every move in the game with Arsene and without Arsene. So, I believe it doesn't change in lag that much. Although the knockback will increase a lot at lower percent, so it can kind of lead into edge guards a bit easier. With Jab, Jab does a decent amount of percent. It kind of just does its job of getting people away from you. It doesn't really cause them to go into tumble or anything until about 20% you saw there. And it doesn't really do that much damage, and it kills at 240, so it's pretty weak. But with Arsene, it actually has the largest upgrade with Arsene, because it increases from killing at 240 to 130, so it gets 110% off its usual kill percent. And that's at the ledge. All of the percents I'd say will be at the ledge. So, yeah, it just gets a lot more damage as well, because it's with Arsene, a lot more knockback. It will cause tumble effects at 0, and I call tumble whenever they, like that's tumble effect there, whenever they go and they have the little smoke particle coming off of them and they move around, and if they touch around then they either have to tech, or if they don't tech then they could be like jab locked, where they are in a tech chase pretty much. But yeah, jabs can just kind of create tech chases at this percent. For some reason there it got 2 hits. I've never actually seen it do that before. But yeah, that's just kind of strange. Jab is kind of just decent at getting people away from you, but it's not something you should use for trying to get a kill, or something that you should use that much, I would say, because forward tilt and, like, forward tilt dash attack and forward smash are a lot better. But, yeah, now we can go into your tilts. So, we got up tilt, forward tilt, and down tilt. So, we'll go over down tilt first, I guess. So, down tilt combos into up tilt, and also up air. Oop, I kind of messed it up there. There we go. So, whenever it does combo, you can get a drag down up air. But I'm not the best at doing drag down up air, so I'm not going to do any of that kind of stuff. But it combos into up tilt pretty easily, at almost like any percent. So you should at least be able to follow it up with an up tilt, and then that up tilt can lead into an up air. to get in a bit more percent just off of the hit. But down tilt itself hits pretty low to the ground and it also moves you forward, so you can kind of just use it to avoid projectiles or hits. Like if Falcon was trying to do a Falcon Punch, I could kind of just like down tilt underneath him to dodge the Falcon Punch and also be able to hit him and do a bit of damage and maybe get a combo started. With up tilt, pretty good for comboing into up air. Outside of that, it doesn't really have that much use. It doesn't kill until about 190%. With Arsene, it kills a lot better, and it also combos out of Arsene's down air. And you can do like down air into up tilt, and it will do about 30 to 34%. The lower percent that you perform the combo will do a bit more damage. I really don't know why. I'm guessing it's because the position where you hit the up tilt changes a bit depending on the percent. But yeah, if you want to kind of hit that combo at lower percents, although the number of hits that you get with Arsene is the exact same as the number of hits from that there. And then you also can still combo it into up air with Arsene, and it will do about 30%. You can see there, just depending on the number of hits you get. Then you've got forward tilt, which forward tilt is basically just like a better version of jab. Or at least I would consider it to be a better version of jab. It has less hits, so it's just a bit faster to throw out. It has a bit more range than jab as well. You can see there. And it also kills a lot faster. It kills at 170 without Arsene, and with Arsene, it kills at 140. So, that's actually a bit less than jab usually kills with Arsene, but it's just a lot faster to throw out. And if you have Arsene, then your opponent's probably already at a high enough percent if you're trying to kill with forward tilt. So, or if you're trying to kill with jab or forward tilt. So jab would be better in that scenario, but any other scenario, forward tilt would probably be your best bet, unless you can land a forward smash, because most of the time you can land a forward smash in areas where you can forward tilt because it has very little starting and inline. And now, speaking of forward tilt, I mean not forward tilt but forward smash, we can get into smash attacks, and I'll start with forward smash. So, it's very fast. It has about 29 frames of inlag if I remember correctly, which is about the same as Joker's up special with Arsene if he lands on the stage. Which, that sounds kind of bad, and it is if you do throw it out a lot, just in the air, and you miss it a lot. But with Arsene, it maintains the same amount of inlag and kills a lot faster, so forward smash kills at 90% without Arsene, and with Arsene it kills at about 60%. So, pretty large difference. You can also combo a forward smash out of the first hit of forward air. Although, I'm not that great at that kind of a combo. You can also do up smash as well. There we go. Although, it works a bit better at higher percents. And then you can also do, like, the second hit of fair. So if you do first hit of fair into first hit of fair into forward smash, then it will actually be true. Although if you just do, like, that hit of fair, you can still land it if your opponent doesn't tech after getting hit by the fair. And then it works a bit better at that percentage, so there it did. Actually connect into the forward smash. It just doesn't really work that well at lower percents, but not that many combos work well at 0. I mean, not in lower percents. Because of the hits done at 0, it's a lot different than the hits done at pretty much 80% above 0. It's much smaller at 0. Then you've got up smash, which is probably your second best smash attack. It might kill a little bit later than down smash, although it still is able to combo out of the first hit of fair a bit easier than down smash does, as down smash hits a lot lower. You can also perform it out of shield, which definitely gives it a pretty large advantage over a lot of the other moves. And it's able to combo out of down air with Arsene. So down air up smash with Arsene will kill at 80%, and if it doesn't kill, it does about 40%. So you should be able to get a lot of damage just out of hitting pretty much two moves, being down air and then just holding up smash for a second. And it's pretty fast as well. It has a bit less not a bit less, but a bit more inlag than forward smash does. But down smash has the least amount of inlag by about 3 frames, being at 26 frames. Hits really low to the ground, so it's really good for shield poking. And if you do land it, it will kill at 110% and 80% with Arsene. But It doesn't really combo out of or from anything, so you can't really do like first hit of fair and a down smash. You can do it if you hit second fair, but it doesn't really work that well out of just a single fair. And that's kind of the same thing with like, you can drag down up air into down smash, but that's pretty much the only combo that works into down smash because of how low it hits the ground. People just fall a bit too far and then they can air dodge it or jump out of the way. Yeah, now we have your aerials. So neutral air is going to be your weakest aerial, but also one of your greatest ones because it allows you to get throws pretty easily. And if you get a throw, you can get a throw combo started, and Joker has a few throw combos that are pretty decent at building up percents, and can also start like drag down up airs and things like that. But neutral air, outside of being able to start throws, is also pretty good out of shield, although it kills very late. It kills at 210% without Arsene, and with Arsene it kills at 200% at the ledge. It's still pretty decent at edgeguarding, even though it does a pretty small amount of knockback, because it can gimp characters with weaker recoveries, and it has a pretty large hitbox. But if you're playing a character with a stronger recovery, you probably want to use fair or back air. So with forward air, kind of already mentioned that the first hit is able to combo into pretty much everything. It combos into combos into forward and up smash, combos into jab, combos into forward tilt, combos into itself. So there's just a lot of possibilities there. But if you do land the second hit, it does a decent amount of knockback as well. So I'll kind of show that there. See, at lower percents, it's not really going to do that much, but with Arsene, it will be able to do a bit more. Oh, that was first hit. And as you can see, the first hit still combos into pretty much everything, even with Arsene. So you can still do first hit of fair into up smash, but like that. And it will do a lot more percent because with Arsene your damage is increased a lot. After that, we have just like fair on its own. So I wasn't going to do back air, but I guess I'll just finish covering fair on its own. Fair on its own is actually pretty good because it can combo out of down throw. And then it can also be used in edge guarding because it has a pretty large amount of knockback. And it's also pretty easy to hit because you can face, or you can just run off stage and then fair. Although if you do it a bit too much, then you might not be able to recover. Back air is a bit stronger at edge guarding, and I'll go over that one now. It's also a bit better in neutral to throw out back airs rather than to throw out fair. Fair can get you combos, but back air is like much better at setting up a wall because it has a much larger like area of effect, as you can see here. So it's pretty good for just spacing away from your opponent. You can do like roar back airs and things like that to kind of get in some percent. It does combo out of down throw, but I'm not the best at that combo in particular. I can mainly just do down throw fair, but you pretty much just have to like turn around and then instantly back air for that to work. Oh yeah, on its own, back air does a lot more damage than forward air, and it also has a lot more knockback, so it's much better for killing. But fair is much better for leading into combos that kill. So you'll be able to do a lot more percent with fair, but you might not be able to kill as easily as with back air. And as you can see with back air, with Arsene, it does about 20%, so you might get more percent with a combo from fair, but a combo with not a combo, but just like a hit of back air does 20%, so you'll still be able to get a decent amount of percent for going for back air. Maybe not the same as going for forward air, but still not that bad. And with back air, it will be able to kill at 140% without Arsene and 100% with Arsene. Although, if you go off stage, then it will be able to kill at much lower percents. And then fair kills at 150, and then with Arsene it kills at 110. So it's kind of the same thing where it will kill much faster if you are off stage, and that was just tested at the ledge. All of the percents, as I said earlier, are tested at the ledge. But yeah, then we have down air. Down air kills at about 150% without Arsene, and it will always send in front of Joker. It's probably the best move for trying to get grabs because of this. You can kind of just like cross up someone and then get a grab because it doesn't send them too far in front of Joker. You can see there. So you mainly just want to use it for cross-ups if you are trying to get a grab. If you land on someone and you like land in front of them and you try to go for a grab, it will send a bit too far. But if you land behind them, it's pretty much perfect for landing a grab like that. And then you can use it to set up edge guards and things like that. But yeah, the like down air hit without Arsene does not spike and just sends forward, but with Arsene it does gain the ability to spike. Combos into up smash for a kill at 80%, and then without, or if it doesn't kill, it does 40%. Does like 39.6, I think. But as you can see there, on its own it does 20%, so it does about the same as back air. Okay, so let me try to get it to where it bounces. So it's much easier to do if you do a footstool off someone. As you can see there, it did 38.8%, but it was a bit stale on the down air hit. But yeah, really good for picking up a kill, because down air can be used to edgeguard because of its spike. It's a pretty strong spike, so you should be able to kill opponents at like 30% just because of how strong the spike is. Like, I'll try to show it here. Yeah, there we go. So as you can see, it didn't knock him directly into the blast zone, but because Falcon has a bit of a weaker recovery, he wasn't able to make it back. So you should be able to pick up a lot of kills with it. And then if you do perform it at the ledge, it does spike occasionally. It did there, but I've seen it non-spike if you perform it at the ledge, because the second hit kind of moves people off stage a bit, and then, I mean the first hit and then the second hit will send them downwards. I've also seen it where people have only hit the first hit of the down air, so you want to make sure that you do the second hit. And if you want to try to do that, usually, like, it's happened to me a bit if I've tried to land on people to get, if I was like landing the first hit like right there. So if you don't land directly on top of someone, or if you do it a bit too early while you're landing, it will do a bit less damage, and also less knockback. It does about the same as whenever you don't have Arsene, but because you don't expect it, then you probably won't be able to get a grab or anything out of it. Then you've got up air, which is mainly just used for drag down up airs. Like, it can be used to kill off the top, but it's not that strong. Trying to get a drag down up air here, but I'm not the best at it, so works really, that was a drag down up air there, but it works really well on platform stages because you can kind of just build up a lot of percent really quickly, because if your opponent just like misses a tech or something, then, or on top of platform that Joker is underneath, then Joker can kind of just spam drag down up airs and it could infinite. Like, I've seen it infinite in a few cases, but I haven't seen it with every character, so I don't know if it works on every character or if it's just certain characters at certain percents. But yeah, up air is pretty powerful because of its ability to drag down. Although if you don't drag it down, it still is decent. Like, it combos out of up throw and down throw. Although with down throw you kind of have to move a bit, and it has to be at a bit higher of a percent, so you can do like basically like a pretty decent combo with Joker is to get a drag down up air there into a grab up throw, drag down up air, up throw, and then drag down up air into a down throw, up air into pretty much like a down smash or a forward smash, just something that you can throw out depending on which direction your opponent is facing. Then you've got your special attacks, so you've got up special, which is really good for recovering. I kind of mentioned that I would go over its recovering uses whenever I went over up special. So yeah, you can actually recover underneath the stage with Joker's up special, even if you don't B-reverse it. Like, that was me up specialing directly into the stage and just grabbed me to the ledge, and I was about where that circle part is. But yeah, on its own, up special goes pretty far, like, just in terms of recovery. Then it can kind of reach inside of the blast zone, as you saw there, but as soon as you get Arsene, then it will travel much further, a bit faster. Although, if you're like at the bottom of the blast zone, like I'll try to show here, then you won't be able to make it back, but pretty much any place that's not the bottom of the blast zone, you can make it back, except underneath the stage. So Arsene, in my opinion, kind of limits Joker's recovery, and I did forget to mention that you can angle it, but mainly because of the end lag that Arsene brings to Joker's recovery. So you have about 30 frames to be able to punish Joker for going for special with Arsene and landing on the stage. If Joker does land at the ledge, then you won't be able to punish him. Or, I mean, you still can if you 2-frame him, because his recovery is a bit easier to 2-frame with Arsene. But if you can't 2-frame him, then he can kind of just do an option to get back to the ledge. If you do read that option, then obviously you punish him. But if you don't read that option, you can still get back to stage. But without Arsene, the grappling hook is pretty useful at catching people in the air to drag them down. It will usually lead into a fair if you do get a drag, or not if you do get a drag down, but if you actually catch him with the up special. Kind of just launches at a pretty good angle for that, so you can either land a fair or back air. But you can't land a first hit of fair, which would be probably the best thing that you could do. Like, if that was able to combo into a first hit of fair, then that would definitely allow Joker to be able to pick up a combo just out of like an up throw, up air, up B. Though you do have a bit of time to be able to react to up air into up throw into up B, and same thing with like up tilt, up air, up B, which works a bit better, although it still is able to be avoided. But yeah, up special without Arsene has a bit less landing lag, as you can see, or not a bit less, but like a lot less landing lag, as you can see there. So it's much better to perform, and it also is able to actually do a bit of damage to your opponent, whereas with Arsene, it doesn't do any damage, leaves Joker open to attack, and it's pretty easy to two-frame. I've heard it's about the same as like Pit and Dark Pit's ability to be two-framed, and they're kind of known for being weaker on two-framing, but I really don't know too much about two-frames because I don't really play that many characters that two-frame. Like, I used to play Wolf, who was pretty big at two-framing. Like, he has, like, down smash, which is one of the best things for two-framing, but I kind of, like, dropped him before I moved too far. And that was kind of when I was trying to pick a character to main. But, yeah, now we've got your side special, which is going to be this. Yeah, Eiha, although I can't pronounce it at all, so I'm just going to call it side special, like that was my attempt there. It does, let me see, 13.3% without Arsene. With Arsene, it does 20.7. It also has a lot more knockback with Arsene, so you can kind of just hit people off stage and kind of make them fly. Kind of like, I'll try to show it here. I barely missed it, but if you do hit people, it will cause them to knock back like that. It doesn't kill or anything like that because it has pretty low knockback. Even at like 999%, it won't kill unless your opponent's standing on a platform. So, it basically doesn't kill on Final Destination, or unless you kind of like jump on Final Destination. But, yeah, because the CPU's not jumping, I guess I can try to make it jump, see if that will kill. So, yeah, there we go. So I was able to, I think I hit them with neutral B, actually. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it just spiked them into the ground, so it didn't knock them in the air. So if you do hit them on the ground, it will send them into the air, but if you just hit them in the air, then it will send them onto the ground. But it won't spike them either. And let me make Captain Falcon stop jumping. Oh yeah, it can kind of hit people at the ledge. I've seen Side Special do that. And it's really good if you're trying to prevent yourself from being edge guarded, so like if I wanted to just like jump off stage for a second if my opponent's kind of coming out of invincibility, or if they hit me off stage, and I can kind of shroud a side special. And it's not too risky or anything. Like, it's not like you'll die for throwing out the side special. But yeah, side special is also pretty good at just doing a bit of percent to your opponent. Like if you land one, that's about 13%, and then you can land another one, get even more percent off of them than just that original 13, and it will slowly just build up over time. So then kind of just do some percent to them without hitting them and from a distance. So it's a pretty good projectile for doing that, although it doesn't really kill or combo or anything like that, so it's kind of useless. But at the same time, a lot of people like either like it or hate it because they hate to play against it, or they like to use it just to prevent themselves from being edge guarded. But Joker's recovery is kind of difficult to edgeguard depending on if you have Arsene or not. But yeah, then you have your gun, which is just neutral special. It will fire a few shots on the ground if you just hold down B, and then if you tap B at specific times, it will be a bit faster. Like this is me tapping B here. If you jump while you're holding down B on the ground, then you will do the same effect as if you hold down B in the air after you already like started to enter in the animation, so kind of like that. And then if you do up there is another type where you just kind of just spin around in a circle. But going downwards, the gun is actually really useful for gimping opponents. I personally am not the best at it, but yeah, here we go. It's kind of just like that, and then if you let go of B, and once the gun stops firing, you can use your up special, but if you do it a bit too early, and you try to up special, you'll still be firing the gun, so you do want to make sure that you put away the gun before you start up special, because it just won't allow you to do it. Like, here's me holding down B, and then trying to up special. But yeah, Joker's gun also has a gun slide, which is kind of similar to like a dash, or not a dash, but like a wave dash kind of. I've heard it or been called like gun sliding or gun dashing. So basically, you just fire the gun and then you hold in the direction that you want to gun dash to, and you will slide in that direction, although it does require a bit of timing. That was not it there. It's a bit easier to perform with Kirby, because Kirby can actually do this if Kirby has Joker's neutral B, because all you have to do is just full hop with Kirby, but that was a gun slide there. I kind of did a bit of practice earlier, but I'm not the best at doing it. And if you're wondering, short hopping doesn't really help that much, because then you do it too low to the ground. You have to do it at a very specific time, and then you'll be able to slide forward a bit. But it's not that useful, like it kind of just moves you forward. If you can perform it consistently, then you'll be able to move forward after firing the gun, but it doesn't give you like invincibility or anything. It just kind of looks cool. Like, I've seen it used once in a combo, but the combo stopped being true as soon as the person that performed the combo used it, because it does have a bit of ending lag. But yeah, gun with Arsene, it does a bit more damage and knockback, but it really doesn't change that much. You can see you'll get a few more shots in, and then if you do like the down air like this, it will do a bit more. And the knockback from the gun comes if you're right next to someone. If you're far away from them, it just does damage. I did forget to mention that. And something kind of interesting about the gun and up special, so up specials, like the grappling hook, can actually be reflected, and then it makes it where Joker can't recover. So if you like run off stage and hold down special as Fox while Joker's trying to grab the ledge, and it will just reflect the grappling hook, and then Joker won't be able to recover. Which, it doesn't really look like a projectile, but the gun, which you would think has a projectile, actually just kind of has like a pretty large hitbox that doesn't really do that much knockback unless you're really close to Joker. And even then it doesn't really do that much. And it cannot be reflected because it's just a large hitbox, so it doesn't really change anything. If you try to reflect it, it'll just be hit. But yeah, I kind of just think that's kind of interesting, because it's kind of backwards in a way, because you would think the projectile from the gun would be able to be reflected, but because it's not actually a projectile, it can't be. And then you wouldn't think up special would be a projectile, but because it kind of behaves like one, it can be reflected. And then you've got down special, which is just Rebel's Guard if you don't have Arsene, but with Arsene, it's a counter that also works as a reflector, so it's just kind of your standard counter and standard reflector, to where if your opponent hits you with a move, then you reflect it, and then if they hit you with a projectile, then you reflect it, and then if they hit you with a move, they counter it. Or you counter it, sorry. I think I said that they reflect it, or that you reflect it if they perform a move, and then you counter it. But I meant to say counter. And then if you don't have Arsene, if you get hit by a move, it will do half damage, and it will also fill your meter, depending on the strength of the move. So, for example, Falcon's Falcon Punch will be able to fill the meter pretty much instantly. Although, you'll still take a bit of damage, and you also do a bit of damage to your opponent whenever you release it. If you're still in the impact of the move, that is. Like, if you've been hit by the move and you would still have hit stun for being hit by the move and you release it, then it will do a bit of damage. But, if you release it way too late, then it doesn't really do anything. But yeah, it's just a pretty convenient way to build up the meter that's down there at the bottom left. Joker's meter will fill up every time that he takes damage, or if he does damage to his opponent. It will also kind of just fill up over time, like I'll kind of just show that here by speeding up the game. So, if you watch the meter down there, it will slowly increase as Joker kind of just sits still. And then every time Joker dies as well, it also fills up a bit. If Joker dies with the meter full, then he will lose all the progress and the meter. But that's kind of like the worst thing that can happen. Then you can also get hit, I guess, while you do have Arsene and the meter is full. It will kind of like decrease over time. You lose it if you die, and you also just lose it over time. If you do get hit though, then you will also lose it for every hit. Like, the stronger the hit, the more that you lose. And that's kind of the same thing, like the stronger hit that you perform, the more meter that you gain. And the stronger that you're hit, the more meter that you gain as well. In doubles, if you're on a team with Joker, and you take damage, and it will fill Joker's meter. And also if you do damage, but if Joker's meter is full, and you take damage in doubles, then whenever you do take damage, then it will slightly decrease Joker's meter. So it kind of charges a bit faster in doubles, but it can also be taken away a bit faster, which makes Joker pretty good at doubles, because it just allows him to get Arsene pretty quickly. You can also kind of just hit Joker while he's doing Rebel's Guard, which is his down special whenever it doesn't have a counter. If you're his doubles partner, and you could fill it up depending on the strength of the move, or the move that you do into Rebel's Guard. But yeah, pretty sure that covers the special moves. After that, we've just got throws. So down throw combos into fair and back air. Just a combo throw. Or a combo throw, sorry. Up throw, it combos into up air, which can lead into drag down up airs. And kind of combo like that. It doesn't really combo out into anything else. And I did forget to mention that down throw also kind of can combo into up air, but it only works at higher percents. And by higher, I mean like 50-ish%, somewhere around there. Up throw can also be used to kill on platform stages, but on Final Destination it doesn't kill until like 250% or something like that. Like, I started testing it from about 150% and I kind of gave up because it just got nowhere close to killing. Whenever I got to about like 200, so it kills pretty late. Although back throw kills at 160% and it's not boosted by Arsene. Like, none of Joker's throws are boosted at all by Arsene. So back throw does 12.6, and then it does 12.6. So as you can see, your throws are like the only moves that aren't affected by Arsene in any way. But yeah, and then forward throw is kind of useless, I would say. It's not really too useless because you throw people in front of you, and you can maybe pick up an edge guard or make them go into a check chase. But it doesn't combo with anything. It doesn't kill until much later. So it's just a kind of bad throw, I would say. Like, compared to the rest of Joker's throws, it looks really bad, but it's not honestly that bad of a, like, useless throw. Like Captain Falcon's forward throw, for example, and Joker's forward throw, both kind of do the same thing, and Joker's is kind of on the same level as it. Like, most of the throws that kind of work where you either make your opponent into a check chase or you edge guard them, just because the forward throw is not really that strong enough to kill. Or those types of throws usually do about the same amount of damage and are about the same. Like, they're kind of not useless necessarily, but they're not as useful as performing any of your other throws, so they're definitely going to be underused. Or not underused, but they're just not going to be used that much because they're not as useful as the other throws. But yeah, now we should be able to get into a match here, so let me just go ahead and turn CPU up to level 9, so... See there, Joker's combos, or that combo that I did there wasn't really a true combo or anything like that, it was a string. A lot of Joker's moves kind of just string together a lot better than they combo together. So, a lot of Joker's combos are mainly just strings that you will see in like a competition or stuff. There is a lot of true combos, obviously. But yeah, let me try to get in some percent Falcon here. I did that way too late. Yeah, the good thing about down tilt, and the reason I did it there when I'm at the ledge, is because most of the time your opponent's gonna, like, try to catch you doing like a forward, or not like a forward smash, but trying to like jump away, so they might move behind you, or like drop their shield and try to do like a grab. But if you down tilt, then it goes underneath a lot of grabs, and it will also like cross them up if they do get hit by it, so then they can't grab you. And it does also cross up shields as well, so then they have to turn around to be able to grab you out of shield. Okay, let's see. Something that I did forget to mention about Joker that I kind of wanted to mention here is that Joker's main strength without Arsene is his ability to combo and his edge guarding. He does kind of struggle to kill a bit. He does have a few moves that kill at reasonable percents, like forward smash and up smash. I would say kill at decent percents without Arsene. With Arsene, they will kill much faster. His combos are a lot stronger. His recovery is a bit weaker because it has a bit more landing lag, and it also takes a bit more time to be able to grab the ledge, and you can't really like control the ability to grab the ledge or not grab the ledge like you can with the grappling hook. You also can't combo with it. But pretty much every other thing that you can do with Joker gets buffed by Arsene. The problem with Arsene is that it can be capped out, and then you do lose it by getting damage. But if you make sure to hit your opponent more than they hit you, then you should be able to get a lot more out of Arsene than they get for defeating Arsene or whatever. Like, you should be able to knock your opponent into a kill percent with Joker without Arsene, and then with Joker himself, you should be able to knock your opponent into a percent that will kill with Arsene. Unless they camp you out, obviously. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is final stock here. Don't know why I went for a neutral air edge guard. Yeah, just wanted a bit of percent on me so that way I could build up Arsene. I don't really know why I didn't just Rebel Guard. I guess because I could have been grabbed and I still got grabbed there. Yeah, there we go. Common spot dodge and then punish with a forward smash. So, as you can see, forward smash is really good for catching spot dodges. It's kind of the same thing with a lot of characters, but some characters' forward smashes are so slow that if they do see their opponent like spot dodge or roll, then they can't just run up and forward smash him. But with Joker, you don't really have to worry about that, even with or without Arsene, so that makes him definitely a strong character because of that. And I guess now I will go into some of the reasons why I think Joker is arguably the best character in the game. Kind of already mentioned a few. He's got pretty strong edge guarding. A lot of his combos do a large amount of percent. His recovery is one of the best in the game. He's able to get consistent damage on opponents without it being like anywhere near them and through their shields using Slide Special. Gun's really good at gimmick opponents outside of his ability to edge guard. And then with Arsene, well, that's increased except for his ability to recover is a bit weaker, but it still allows him to recover from pretty much anywhere on the stage. I just kind of like the grappling hook a bit better because it combos and has less ending lag and things like that. Whereas with Arsene, it will have a lot more ending lag, so it's a bit easier to punish. But Joker's edge guarding, his combos, everything, they're all strengthened by Arsene. He has a lot of he has like a few infinites, as I kind of mentioned earlier with like up air, but he also has the footstool into down air, and or not down air, but like downward angled neutral special. It's kind of a frame perfect infinite that will probably never be used in tournaments, but it does have a chance to, I would say. So basically the way that it works is that you footstool your opponent on the ground. It's kind of hard to explain. So you footstool, and then you get the gun, you angle it downwards. So I'm currently angling it down, and so I'm just holding down B. So we'll switch over here. So as you can see, it's hit Falcon once, and then you kind of just hold forward as soon as it hits your opponent to move forward. Although I think I did it a bit too early, so I didn't drag them. But you basically drag them with the here, let me try to show it here. So you basically drag them kind of like that, where you just move forward while still shooting them downwards, and it basically hits them frame perfectly to be able to move them forward. And then you land behind them, do another footstool, and then just repeat that over and over again until you get them at a kill percent out of like down smash or forward smash, something like that. And it works on pretty much every character in the game. I've only seen it work on a few, but I would assume that it works on every character a bit better than it works on, or than up air does. Although it only works at specific percents for specific characters, so that could have also been a percent that didn't work on Captain Falcon, because I actually don't know the percent that works on Captain Falcon. But it is actually frame perfect because it works on hits that like start on frame 20, and on frame 21, your opponent would have enough hits, or they would lose all of the hit stun lag and be able to shield the bullet, but because it hits on frame 20, that's like the perfect frame to be able to infinite on them. But that's also something that will most likely be patched out in the next update, so it's probably not going to be something that's permanent. Joker's also done pretty well in tournaments. Like, MKLeo obviously is arguably like one of the best, if not the best, Smash players in the world currently. Like, a lot of people know about this. He's done well in pretty much every tournament. He's changed a lot of people's opinions on characters, including Joker. Like, a lot of people think that Joker is good because of MKLeo. I don't personally think that. I think Joker's good for the reasons I mentioned above. And then MKLeo's just a good player as well, so he's able to use Joker to pretty much his full potential. And he's done really well in tournaments with Joker. Even like the week that Joker came out, he did pretty well in a tournament that happened that week I don't remember the name of. And then you also have other Jokers that are doing pretty well in tournaments, maybe not as well as MKLeo. And what I mentioned earlier about him like changing opinions on characters, there was also whenever he played Ike in one of the earlier tournaments last year in Smash, and a lot of people thought Ike was top tier because of that, and then people realized that Ike had pretty big weaknesses. Joker obviously has a lot of weaknesses, and the fact that he kind of struggles to kill without Arsene, but it's not as bad as what you would think. And his recovery with Arsene's a bit weaker than his recovery without Arsene, but that's pretty much his only problem. He can struggle a bit with range, I guess, but his dagger knife thing should still be able to hit opponents from pretty much a decent amount of range, like a mid-range area. It's not as bad as characters like Captain Falcon, who don't really have anything like a knife or a sword. Joker's not really a sword character because he does use a knife, but he kind of has a bit more range than characters that don't have swords. So it's still somewhat of a problem if you're playing against a sword character, but if you're playing against characters like Captain Falcon or Mario, for example, then they still get outranged by Joker more than a sword or more than Joker gets outranged by them, I guess. But yeah, I guess that's going to cover it for Joker. So now I will do taunts. So yeah, hopefully that made sense. I've been trying to get this stream to work for a bit of time, kind of like yesterday's stream, but things haven't really been working that well. And after this, I am going to be doing viewer battles, so that was up taunt, side taunt, and down taunt. But yeah, as I mentioned, so I'm going to start viewer battles in probably like the next 30 minutes. I think I just want to kind of get everything in order for that. But I will be doing them for a bit of time to celebrate me reaching 1,000 hours in the game, I guess. I haven't reached it yet, although, let me actually check to see if I have, so I'll cover that up, so, because I might have, actually. No, it's still 995, okay. So, you have that in position to be able to cover up the friend code. But yeah, that's going to do it for this stream for now, and I guess I will see everyone in a few minutes whenever I get that started up.